Hey everybody, it's ElCid932 on YouTube. Thank you for joining me. This is Love is Blind UK Season 2, Episodes 5 and 6. So let's get into it, because we're still on the honeymoons, y'all. We are still on the honeymoon. And if you love those scenes of Greece, please make sure to hit that like for the channel. Show us some love here while I do the recaps for you. Now, Billy and Ashley are reaffirming each other and their love. We have Kieran and Megan. She's like, how can he build trust with her? And she says her mom is alone now. She's terrified of being her mom, and she does find it hard to trust. He fell for her in the pods, and he's like, he is not one of those men. But she never truly believed in love, okay? She never truly been in love, and says it has to take her a little more time, okay, to be able to say, I love you. He's prepared to wait, but he says it feels like a little bit of egg on his face since she hasn't said it. The song they say is When I'm With You. Cal and Sarova, they have a spa day, and Cal explains, all around him where he lived were Caucasian women. That's where he's from. And, he didn't find love where he's from, though, and that's why he is so happy with Sarova. He said it doesn't matter where his love is from or her color as long as it's love. He says he found love and he meant it, and Sarova is happy and she got the extra assurances. They have said I love you on seeing each other. Cal mentions, Javin and Katisha again. And I'm shaking my head. I said, Cal, you need to focus on your relationship. Just because you said something nice right now does not mean you have to stop watering this plant. And he says, oh, well, Demola was my great friend or my good friend. Da, da, da. I'm like, it's been 10 days. But I guess if they could find love, then they could find a great friendship. Maybe I need to rethink that. But it's been 10 days. This song they sing is We Lovin' on Higher Ground. Now, Javin and Katisha, they talk about Cal and how Cal, came to her at the mixer. And, Katisha says Cal seems to be confused. Javin says Cal is a straight up guy. He says what's on his mind. So when she said Cal is confused, I said, is Demola confused too? How many people are confused, Katisha? Is it just them, or is it you too? The song they play is When Can We Dive In? Then we see Barda and Jed. They have a great day. They drove the ATVs. And he said, are you going to get used to, he's a dominant kind of guy. He wants to care for his woman. And she's like, hey, I'm an independent woman. I've usually cared for myself. And, would he let her take the lead? He said, yes, he would let her at times, but he's not built, that way for her to lead. Okay. So she's thinking he's not ready to let go of being the head of the household, but he wants to take care of his woman, Barda. So let's lighten up a little bit, both of you. So the song they play is I Already Know Your Soul. So the next day is a couple's wine mixer. Katisha, is, telling Javin, I'm glad you're here. And he hesitates, y'all, because he's looking off into the distant ocean. And then he's like, yeah, I'm glad, you're here. But he barely looks at her. They're again away from all the other couples. I'm like, does anybody like them? So the hosts arrive, and I'm like, They ask, is there any physical affection? Cal yells out, lots. Kieran is surprised that, it's not weird sharing a boudoir together. And Hoa said, yeah, the holiday is almost over. You're going to move into your new place soon. You get your phones back. It is a distraction. And also, family will be eager to meet your new fiance. Billy is the first man that Ashley brings home. And he is coming as her fiance. Ashley says she is apprehensive but excited for the challenge. I was like, Billy, I'm glad you are excited for the challenge, but you recognize as the first gentleman to come home or be brought home. Then Ashley, who have you been dating that you haven't brought anyone home? Sometimes we need the parents to figure out if this person is for real or not. So Ashley, I'm asking, who you been dating? So the host asked, you'll be getting married in a few weeks. Is there pressure? Bardha said, hey, it just means that there's work to be done. Javin said he wants to get married, but if it doesn't happen in their journey, this is not over. Katisha wants to get married, but living together will be a challenge. If living together they are not ready, then, it's comfortable saying it's not the right time for us. I'm like, huh? Is this an exit strategy? Is this an exit hatch? Are you putting on a parachute just in case you don't want to stay for the rest of the ride so you could just jump off when you can? I was like, okay, y'all are made for each other. Demola, I am so happy you did not end up here. I am so happy. Y'all need to go back and watch that scene because Bardha, Jed, and Cal are looking at Katisha like, say what now? Say what now? Okay. The song they play is Open Your Eyes. Kieran asks, communication in person is hard. He shares that the I love you, she has not said it back. Now, this is the guys all talking together. And, she's feeling it. He's seeing it, feeling love from her, but she hasn't said it. Billy is like, she says it when she means it, it will mean so much more. Javin says they have not said it, okay? But they need more time and experiences because that is a heavy word. I understand. So when they ask about the family meetup, the ladies, and Megan said they fit in so easily, so excited. Bardha said her family will love him because they have similar backgrounds. They have talked finances, and he is proud to be the provider. And she said the first date, woo her. Please woo her. But, after that, she's happy to pay. But in her cultures, her brother or her brothers will not allow her to pay for anything. So he's kind of like your brothers, Bardha. Okay? This is where they may butt heads a bit because he wants to take care of her and she wants, to be able to do it as well. She said she's been doing this for herself the whole time. And I'm like, but you also had your brothers. Who has she dated in the past? Because it seems outside of the culture. Has she dated folks outside the culture? And then, the whole she pays too is okay? I'm wondering because men in the culture may not allow her that independence and financial freedom to be paying for dates. I don't see that. So Jed said, Bardha is used to taking control and in his past he has taken care of things, everything. And she's not like that. It's fine and he'll have to adapt. Billy said the biggest thing is communication. So if you talk about it, talk about what's bothering you, then you could, get through it. Javin says the biggest thing is not always seeing, each other. Meaning you didn't see each other for 10 days when you, got engaged and now you're seeing each other all the time. So it's been weird, he said, these first couple of days. Wasn't weird enough for you to be talking about staying up all night and getting no sleep. Wasn't that weird, huh, Javin? So Billy says, you said you're happy to date again. He and Ashley agreed if, either of them says no, they don't know if they can go backwards to dating. He said he came here to fall in love and get married. So that sounded like Billy and Ashley, like, if you say no, you ain't never gonna see me again. Javin says he's hoping these few weeks he will feel comfortable making that step. You were comfortable enough to leave the pods. You were comfortable enough to be staying up all night. Now all of a sudden you ain't comfortable enough to make that step. Katisha girl, you picked a winner. Cal said, it's raw and you and Demola were close. Were they? We didn't see that. He said, do you think the rug was pulled out from under him, at the last minute? Do you ever think of that? Javin said they spoke of it, how do you feel, this way one day and all of a sudden you change? Cal said, I'll ask Katisha that. So, Jed says, on her side, it was a difficult decision. And Cal is like, she already blindsided you in a good way. She could be blindsiding you in a wrong way next. So Cal ain't hearing that what Jed is talking about with rose-colored glasses, y'all. Cal ain't hearing like, oh, it was hard for her too. He didn't want to hear it. He didn't want to hear from Sarova. He daggone sure don't want to hear from Jed. Cal said, the wedding, is coming up. That's an even bigger decision. Do you trust her to stick to her word? Because she certainly didn't stick to the word with Demola. I just hearing Cal saying everything that I wish I could say there. But Javin says he does not care about other people's opinions. He wants, to talk to Demola and, to kind of see things his way and see what did she say that gave Demola such confidence in his proposal. But she doesn't want to express exactly what happened. Javin, I hope you do get to speak to Demola. Okay, I hope you do. The song is Don't Put Out That Fire. Please don't put it out. Ashley and Katisha, she says, hey, I'm worried about y'all. They know I love yous. Is Demola still on your mind? And Katisha's like, no. Cal already asked. He's trying to see, where my head was at. And I'm like, why is Ashley apologizing for Cal? She's like, oh, I'm sorry for Cal, and people coming at you. What people? Who else has been asking? Production, we need to see everybody who asking her about Demola, because everybody's confused as we are. So she's like, no, with Demola, yes, they had a connection, but it's not fair to say yes to someone she's not 100% about. Say what now? Say what now? You were not 100%? He said a lot. He, gave you assurances, but did you ask for assurances? Say what now? You weren't 100%, but you were willing to be 100%. I'm not going to change my mind. You gave your word. Even if you weren't at 100%, you gave your word. She says she feels at peace with Javin, and they're going at the speed she's comfortable with. What speed? Fast to sleep, slow to commit? What speed is that exactly, Katisha? So she starts crying, and she doesn't want to feel bad about Demola. She doesn't want to be a villain. You are. Sorry to tell you, young lady, you and Javin both are villains in this story. But it's all about how she feels, and she feels she can be herself with him, and she needed to feel calm, when life was chaotic. What about Javin is calm? We must be missing some production. Y'all have been putting on for Javin, because what about him is calm? Now he's solid. He seems he's on solid footing, but come on. He's not solid footing as far as this relationship and his feelings for you. So what about him is more 100% than Demola? Ashley's like, you pick the man that would support you. You're a strong, independent woman. Are you ready to marry him? She's like, yeah, why do you ask? Is there something you want to say? She's like, you married him for the rest of your life. Katisha said she didn't take this decision lightly, but she doesn't want to be a villain. She came in by herself for herself. Now, this is when I told y'all Katisha and Javin were the same person. That she made the right decision for her and for Demola. While we got the edit of her being nice and sweet or whatever, there were certain behavior patterns I saw that I was like, Katisha ain't A1. So the song they played after this was Burn Like a Wildfire, Don't Love Me, Destroy Me. I'm like, Javon better, ask her for more. So the next day they're packing up to leave. We see Billy and Ashley. He's nervous about meeting the dad. Javin and Katisha, they talk about the whole conversation with Ashley and that Ashley made her cry talking about this. And Javon said, you're a grown woman to make your own decisions, no matter what they say. And y'all, they are distant while they're packing. They're across the bed. The way they're talking is very clinical. It's not very, oh, I'm sorry, sweetie, that you had to, feel that emotion. It's like, oh, it was tough, huh? Dang, she made you cry, huh? It was basically very distant, vocally, emotionally, and physically. So they move in, and we're told it's 21 days till the wedding. And they move into apartments in Manchester. Billy and Ashley, she doesn't want to come out this fantasy bubble yet, okay? She never lived with a guy before. Ashley, who have you been dating in the past? Who have you been dating in the past? You never brought them home. You never lived with them. Billy, wants, all of her family to like him. And she's nervous to tell her dad. So Megan and Kieran, they both check out each other on IG. Ooh, she had some risque photos. Megan, you looked good, girl. You looked good. But, ooh. And Kieran had some taking off his shirt and being topless on IG. I thought they were cute going through and finding each other on Instagram. Megan says she never felt this way about someone, but she has not said I love you yet. And this may, be a big thing. So the song they play is Comes Back to You. Jed and Bardhar, they cook together. He's cutting up items, they're, cooking pite. And this is a traditional dish from her home country. So she said, hey, I hope you like this because this is what our kids going to be eating. Bardhar, I'm already telling you, this is the menu in the household, okay? She says she likes this part of being with him. It is real life and they are happy to be with each other. She's always wanted someone to share her culture with, and she loves that he's Lebanese and their cultures are so similar. He didn't know how similar until now, and it feels like home being with her. That is so wonderful to hear someone say that you feel like home. Jed said he can see them together and beginning a home and life together. She is the best friend and fiance rolled up in one person. The song they play is Hold On To You. Javin and Katisha, she's on the couch, he's at the table. I'm like, y'all, there is an entire planet between them. This, I'm sorry. I never see these folks holding hands, talking really nice to each other. It is just confusing to me. So she said the couples have a view about her and her decision. They're all making assumptions. Why can't they just take it for what it is? Because it's none of their business. I'm like, girl, get it together. Because the world is going to be in your business. You have a problem with the couples on the same show with the same experience as you being in your business? The entire world is now in your business. Get used to it. He says he understands the questions. You know, it went from Demola being very confident and then it flipped. He wants to know what was said because he's intrigued. He said something was said or something was done in a 24-hour period. You don't say you're going to walk away with a person like Demola said in the men's lounge unless there was confirmation from the other person. I said Javin finally making some sense. He said it wouldn't make sense if something wasn't said in return. So basically, Javin finally making sense, saying, is Demola delusional? Because he didn't seem to be a delusional kind of guy to me. Katisha, breathes and then she picks at her clothes. I was like, girl, you better speak up. Javin, if you don't want to tell me, you don't have to. It's not a big deal. She does. She does need to tell you. And it is a big deal because this will fester. This is a sore that will fester and grow. So she said, well, it is a big deal. And he said, it's not, but he just wants to know. This proves that Demola did not go around telling the men exactly what Katisha was telling him. Demola said exactly what he said in the men's lounge. He's going to, play his part. He's going to present himself. But he did not go tattling to the men as to what was said in their pods. Katisha says she feels like, what was said was silly. Don't know why she said it, but she said for him not to worry. Katisha, we also saw that you said you were going to stick with him. You're going to go through with him. You also said you weren't going to change your mind. You didn't say that, huh? But you got selective hearing, and now you got selective recollection and selective telling Javin what happened. So he's like, okay. If you hear that, though, then the person wouldn't worry. Javin says he wants to back her, okay? But he wants to know what the conversation was like. Demola was going to leave with her, and then the next day is a switcheroo. Is that going to happen again? Javin, you better pay attention. The song they play is Show Me One More Dream. Then 20 days till the wedding, Billy meets Daddy Barry. Now, Cal is trying to open up the laundry. He's on his phone trying to figure out how to open up the laundry door. I agree with you, Cal. If it ain't a machine you're used to, it's a whole bunch of bells and whistles. Jed brings flowers as a surprise for Bartha when he was coming home from the gym. Now, that's cute. That's real sweet. Keep it up. So we go to Ashley. We in Croydon. Ashley is nervous. Billy's like, if you nervous and that's your dad, how do you think I feel? So Gwynne, Gwynne, or Gwynnie, is her dad's name. And he said, how you been? Where you been? What's going on? She's like, hey, Dad, Billy ain't just my husband. He's my fiance. He's like, as in getting married, fiance? The tension in the room. Daddy is like, huh, really? Daddy's in a bit of shock. But he said, I didn't think I was going to meet your future husband. I was here to meet a boyfriend. This is not the norm. The song is Nowhere Left to Hide. Now we move to episode 6 and we're still with Ashley and Billy. And she tells Dad, hey, Dad, we're getting married. One thing I like with Ashley Ashley said, hey, Dad, we're getting married. She's leading the conversation. She is smoothing it over for her parent, because Billy is there, you know, being in the headlights for the deer. Dad said he don't know what to say. She's like, it's a lot. It's a lot. So she's reassuring. Billy said he's 100% sure about this. Dad asked, when's the wedding? 3 weeks. He's like, 3 weeks from now? Like right now? 3 weeks? So Billy says, hey, we've had those meaningful conversations. We have a great foundation. Ashley said, the first 6 months will be a challenge. Dad is like, I like your work. I like your work ethic. There are compromises to be had, but he is proud of her and proud of all his children. So Billy reassures him he's done an amazing job. She has wonderful core and family values. And, Ashley's like, it's a lot, Dad. I know. Dad does want her to be happy and wants them to have a good life and to build a great life together. So he's like, you both happy? Then he won't stand in their way. So she asks him to walk her down the aisle, and Daddy tears up because she's crying. He's like, you don't have to ask. Okay, you don't have to ask. He's tearing up too. And she said she's only seen her dad cry once before. Daddy isn't used to showing emotions. Okay, he said he was emotional because she was emotional. Now he embraces, them and their happiness. The song is I Will Be There For You. Kieran got Megan flowers, sunflowers, and roses. So the sunflowers are yay tall in the vase, and the roses are close to the bottom. So she laughs, and I'm like, but it's a romantic gesture. It's a lot of laughing and kidding around, but Kieran is doing something that's kind of romantic, and I wonder if he feels slighted a bit. So he says he loves cooking for her because, she takes care of him in so many ways. And she's like, he's amazing and, couldn't ask for more. And she says, I love you so much. He gets emotional and says, I love you too. So finally, Megan is able to open up and tell Kieran that she loves him. I'm happy for them. The song that they play is I Found Love in You. So on time. We find out it's 19 days before the wedding. Billy gets Ashley to make up the bed like military style. I was like, ooh, Ashley, are we going to get used to this every day? Badha gives Jed a piggyback ride. I was like, that is too funny. She's like, I am not, a small fry. I'm a strong woman. Sarova and Cal, she has a visitor. Okay, we're going to find out who her visitor is later. Kieran and Megan, he loves hearing her say, I love you. And I'm like, he kept saying, can you say that again? Can you say that again? And I wonder if Megan will get tired of saying it. But they're supposed to meet his friends in this episode. Now, Jed and Javin go take a walk. Jed said he is, Jed, says he's 100% in getting married, but there are things they need to work out. Javin said he's not 100% to be real. He never brought a girl home to his mom and dad. What is going on with these people? No mom and dad input? What's going on? He said the Damola thing is on his mind. So Jed is like, has it affected the experience? He's like, yeah, I'd rather her go meet with him, squash it all, and everyone be happy and cool. Why? I thought you don't care what people think. Javin, you don't care what people think. Why do you want her to go meet him to squash it so everyone is happy and cool? So he, Jed asked, do you trust her? He's like, yes, today, yes, but the communication is different now. He asked her about what was actually said, and she only remembers saying, don't worry. And he was baffled the next day. Jed is like, yeah, Damola was real choked up about it. He said the only thing bothering him is how she communicates about that interaction with Damola. And he says she may be embarrassed, but why should she be embarrassed? That's alarm bells for me. When somebody can't be straight with me and telling me, what did you do? How did you feel? She may be embarrassed and she's withholding because she could say, hey, I don't want to tell you because I don't want to hurt your feelings or make you feel some kind of way. You could say that. But the song they play is I've fallen on my face. I hope, Javin, you don't fall on your face, but you're asking good questions. So Sarova's visitor was Katisha. And Sarova, said she never took a boy over to meet her family again. Mom said, that Sarova signed up for the experience, but the family did not. And when she asked, "How are you?" Katisha's like, it put a downer on the retreat by Cal asking all this about Demila. And I was like, Katisha, are you trying to throw a little salt on Cal's relationship with Sarova? For like Sarova to do the dirty work and telling Cal to back off? I'm watching you. So she says Javin is neutral about it. We girls, go in with emotion and he with logic, and that's not aligning. I'm like, no, Missy, you are lying and you're withholding information. That's what's not aligning. So she goes on, the communication is the hardest. The song they play is Say That You Will Do Better. Exactly, Katisha, do better. Megan and Kieran, he takes her to his home, and I guess he is got roommates, and the fridge is just beer, okay? And ketchup and all the condiments you could want. I was like dying. This is a bachelor pad. But they, she admires where he works. He has a desk area. He has a cool room. But they fall on the bed with their shoes on. I was like, no shoes on the bed, please. Billy and Ashley, she's comfortable living with him. Is this what married life is going to be like? And he loves finding out about her. She said she's usually 50-50. She likes drying dishes, but he doesn't have to do it all. Maybe give 5 minutes and she would do it as well. But Billy is like, oh, get up and do it like right now for him, not for her. But she feels kind of like a pressure. Now she has to do things faster or quicker, just to feel like she's pitching in. He said, don't overthink it. Okay. It's process driven, and don't overthink it. So he said Army molded him and made him this regimented. She said it's attractive, but the structure has to be adapted to allow for her as well. And he sees that, and he said he will be adjusting. Now, the song they play is Standing Onto the Top of the World. Kieran and Megan meet his friends, Harry, Joe, Chris, and Jack. Kieran says he can't go through with this all the way if his friends don't have his back. And it's terrifying to marry someone you just met. It's scary, yes, but, he hasn't seen anything to put him off of being with Megan. It's quick, Megan says it's real quick, but Kieran's like the emotional connection is there, and he fell in love with her through the wall. So they ask about, did she say it back? And he said she didn't. And she's like, hey, it takes her longer, and that's what made it special. So friends ask, are you worried this is just in a nice bubble? And they're aware of it. They have spoken about it, but they do have an emotional connection. The friends are like, why does this have to end in marriage? And we never got an answer to that. They kind of pulled away. But the friends also warn her, don't eat Kieran's scrambled eggs. Don't do it. Now, Kieran went off to talk to his friend, and he does say he's fallen hard for Megan. And the friend's like, if this is an experiment and this ends, how are you going to deal with your decision? He said he's open to love and marriage, but never thought it would happen. The friend is like, I'm excited for you, but I'm scared. And Kieran wants him, to be behind him and become confident in his decision. Now, the friend said marriage is a big deal and should not be played with. Not until maybe 6 months to a year, but he will support him in this endeavor. So Kieran, tells the friend, real bro hug, and tells the friend, I love you. Kieran seems to be someone who really puts his all into his relationships. Now, the song we hear is Be So Good. Jed and Bardha. Jed says, he likes the little normal things. He's getting used to her cooking. She's glad that he likes her cooking. And, they were raised in a bubble where the woman cooks or cleans according to their culture, but she doesn't want her life to rely on a man. She doesn't need him, but she wants him. And Bardha tells about her mom, who was diagnosed in the past with breast cancer, and she lost it when the mother, got the diagnosis, when the doctor said it. Now, the mom looked at her and she said, I'm looking at my mom, and she has to translate that to her mom. And all I kept thinking about is the kids of immigrants who cannot speak the language. They have to translate adult situations for their parents. That is a difficult thing. That is a hard thing to do. Now you have to translate for the doctors to tell your mom this diagnosis. But hey, Bardha said after the second surgery, the biggest weight was off of her shoulders because the mother, was perfectly fine, perfectly well after that. Mom does want her to marry and settle down. The song they play is Don't Think of Us the Same Way. Now, Jed wants to be a bonus in her life, okay? He wants to be the extra in her life. He's not trying to control her life or direct it in, one way. But, she says with him, she is definitely happy. She's a tough cookie, but he makes her feel special. She didn't know that she would find someone that would make her soft and relax and be a girly again. We see Katisha and Javin. They are going out to dinner. And we don't see them much together. We didn't see much about them doing activities in Greece. We don't see them much in the apartment apart from that one time. So I don't know what's going on. But Katisha said, hey, everything feels good. Javin is everything is exciting, but some things needs improvement. And she said, do you want me to reach out to Demila and lay it all to rest? He said, yeah, please do. Now, she's like, she's grateful for his support. Now, that is some dark arts right there for me. I'm sorry. Because grateful for your support to contact a man that I was going to be engaged to? Yeah. So no matter what it goes down, she's grateful for his support. So she's like, I could reach out to him now if you'd like. So he's like, go ahead. And while she's doing that, it's taking a long time. Where Javin is like, are you sending him a life story? I mean, what are you sending him? Javin, this is all your gut telling you something ain't right. So she just laughs. He says, no more Demila chat. It's boring. And I'm like, no, you don't want to deal with it. Wait till you find out exactly what was said in the pods, Javin. So the song they play is Fight Fire with Fire. And now it's 18 days before the wedding, y'all. Ooh, it seems like it's flying. Billy is ironing, and he said he gives Ashley's ironing an 8. He said he learned how to iron from his dad, who's also a former military man. It's like, okay, all this military, lifestyle. Ashley, are you okay with your your daughters going into the military? Interesting. Cal and Sarova, they're going to meet his family, his grandma and his mom. Now, his mom looks like Bardha. I got to say, Cal, your mom looks like Bardha. Like, if Bardha was at that age, that's what she looks like. Grandma's excited. Mom is observing. Mom ain't cracked a smile too much. But, he tells them about the process. Mom asks about living arrangement. Are they going to live on this end or the posh end? Thank you, Mama, for reiterating what I thought, that it was 2 different classes, okay? So, Cal said, hey, they talked about maybe splitting up their living arrangements, meaning they would live part of the time close to his family, part of the time close to her family. So she reassures them that she's used to traveling around because her family is spread out and wants family to be a part of this living arrangement decision. Now, Grandma and Granddad, we're told, were married for 63 years. They are married for 63 years. She got a letter from the Queen at their 60th anniversary. But they met when Grandma was 16. They were engaged when she was 20 and married at 21. Y'all do the math, okay? Grandma says this is quick, but folks in the past have met and instantly fallen in love, got married, and had a long life together. They look perfect together, and they look like a power couple. That's according to Grandma. Mom said he has never expressed wanting to get married. I was like, wait a minute. Mama gonna tell it all. Mama needs her own segment. She's like, but y'all met and y'all have a great connection. So take that leap of faith. So Sarova is saying there's so many firsts with Cal, including meeting the family. But this felt lovely. Now, Cal's brother, Junaid, showed up. And I hope I said his name correctly. He shows up and the brothers go off to talk. Cal says, hey, I didn't think I'd find somebody. And the brother, he's like, are you really ready to get married? But he said, I don't think you are. Cal said, it wouldn't have gone this far if he wasn't ready. He would have pulled the plug. But the brother's like, can you put her fully first? Can you put her fully first? She could put you first, but I don't know if you could do the same. He said, each of you need to treat the other like number one. Cal said he never thought about that. I'm like, really? You're going to be a husband? A whole husband? He said he's putting himself first most of his life and he feels that he can, but now it's to put it into practice. And the brother lays it on us, y'all, and says, you had a lot of girls. You had a lot of girls. And this ain't your usual type. Cal's like, hey, I done told her that she's not my usual type, but this is not about physical because the usual type didn't work out. This is first and foremost communication and connection. When asked, will the relationship last, the brother's like, if I had to lay my life on it, no. He knows what Cal is like. He's very about himself, his routine, and anything that would change that, Cal as always says, I'm done, and he leaves. Now, Sarova is talking, with grandma and mom, and they're like, it hasn't sunk in yet. Now, Katisha meets with Damola. Taking it all in, he said, hey, he complimented her. She is beautiful. And she's like, are you surprised to hear from me? He's like, yeah, a little bit. Especially after how it ended. She said she wanted to make sure he was okay. All this fluff foolishness. Katisha, get to the point, girl. Get to the point. He said he had that moment where he felt like, she didn't care. She said she understands that he felt blindsided. She was in her head, all the time. And she did feel like a little bit she put her head in the sand, and not to make a decision. But we heard your decision, girl. We heard you say your decision, and we heard you say you won't change your mind tomorrow. She says she had to be honest with herself. And Namola's like, he don't want to hear this really. He was not rude, but he changed it. You happy? She's like, yeah, I'm good. She's like, I'm glad you're happy. And he will be a cheerleader for her. He's like, he's good. He's like, the good guys finish last. She's like, oh, no, don't say that. Keep up the good things you are. You are great. He's like, he'll try. He'll try it very, hard for the next person and hope it's the right person. He said this happens for a reason. Happy she's happy. He's a class act, I have to say. And I'm abbreviating this, but Damola is a class act for this. He is not going on and telling her, hey, you made a promise, you broke your promise, and now here you are. I hope you're happy because you broke a promise to me. So she says she's been holding back because folks are focused on the past. Didn't you promise to stick with him and not change your mind? Okay, I'm stuck on the past. I'm stuck on that past. So he wishes her all the best, send, he said, whoever catches your bouquet on your wedding, send them my way. I was like, Damola, that was a little funny. That was a little cheeky, but that was good. He said he has an idea for a thought process. It's good to close this chapter, maybe, but he gonna dust it off and focus on himself. He will love someone who is the right person in the future. Damola, again, class act. I gotta say that. You didn't come in here saying, you lied, you lied, you lied. You came in here, you said your piece, and you let her understand you're disappointed, but you're like, hey, you made your decision. But we saw it. Bada and Jed meet her parents, and the parents are good about it. The parents love this. It was so welcoming, so warm, so nice. And, loves, how she's small and feisty. The mama says she's clever too. But they do like him. They're excited. Mama wants 6 grandkids. Bada said, Mama, you're going to get 2. Mama's like, don't worry, I'll help you. I'll help you. But Jed does ask her dad for his blessing because he couldn't ask for it before he proposed. And the man stood up, shook hands, and Dad said he is, yes, of course. And he is wishing them a long legacy and good life together. Mom, agrees that maybe love can be blind. And the song they play for them is Like We Owe It to Ourselves. Javine and Katisha, she said, it went well. It was a little awkward in the beginning. He did feel blindsided, but she understands that how he gonna feel blindsided if you didn't make a promise? How can he be blindsided unless you did something different? So he asked, did you apologize? She's like, no, I didn't say I'm sorry. It just broke down to how she came to her decision. Javine's like, oh, well, how you feel? The fact she didn't apologize for how he felt and how what of a tailspin she probably put him in, told me all I needed with Katisha. Because we can say it was editing, but she clearly says, no, She didn't apologize because she doesn't feel she needs to apologize. So while y'all are looking at Javin and all of this stuff, and y'all looking at, oh my God, poor Demala, y'all need to look real hard at Katisha. Because that young lady ain't as innocent bystander as some people made her out to be. But she says a weight off her chest. Now she, doesn't need to think about other people, or she doesn't need to think about herself as a bad person. I thought y'all don't care what other people think. I thought that was it. Clearly y'all care. So stop saying you don't care. Because clearly you care about what other people think. Or else you wouldn't be doing all this, oh, now people could stop talking. He said he's proud of her for being brave enough to face Demola. Brave? What is brave about it? She lucky he did not pull out all the information and say, run that footage. Let us see that footage of her saying all that stuff. You're lucky, but hey, you're going to see it now. She says she sees why people are friends with him. He's a really good guy. Javin jokes, that maybe you could change your mind again, huh? See, that is what's on his mind, Katisha. Watch it. Song is I Still Love You. Why were y'all playing this? They ain't never said I love you, okay? It better be for the next ones. We know it's 17 days until the weddings, and Bardha and Jed, she's cooking his home-cooked meal, his home-cooked dishes, and he loves it. He can barely speak. He's in heaven. He's like, my fiance can cook. So Katisha says it's Javin's idea for them to go get pedicures. I guess as a football player, he's concerned about his feet, okay? Ashley and Billy, he does not like saturated sauces and stuff like that. They're at the grocery store trying to shop. She loves cheeses. He's like, yep, it's a treat, but he stays away from anything that's high fat. So she asked about, shopping with his ex, and he said, hey, his ex and him, they would shop separately because he's a snacker. If he sees she has snack, he will snack. But at the holidays, he will eat whatever he wants. So she asked, oh, let's get onions. He's like, why do we need onions? I was like, Billy, why would you need onions? Maybe season some stuff, okay? He says his weekly shop, he keeps it simple because all he eats really is broccoli, rice, and mince. I'm guessing mince is minced meat. So it's just broccoli, rice, and meat. She feels uncomfortable. She says she doesn't want to change her diet to fit his needs. Then he goes, one slice of this cake is 600 calories. Billy, don't come around me, okay? So he said the first time, this is a large difference of opinion. First time they're having this. And he felt he had to justify his opinion. He said he's not going to stop eating clean. Ashley, though, says it's on her chest now, but can he compromise? He said, don't buy things just to put in the cupboard for cupboard's sake. She said, yes, it's going in the cupboard for cupboard's sake. He said it will be a temptation to him, and that will be an issue. I'm like, what about kids? When do you have kids? What are you going to do? Hide everything from them? Billy, really? The temptation seems to be your issue. That's a you issue. You need to not eat her snacks. But he's like, hey, he's into fitness and he can't have people eating. He can't be eating what he's telling people not to eat. So because of the fitness is why he eats this way. That's a you thing, Billy. She not into fitness. So the song they play is They Don't Come Around. Now that's the end of the 2 episodes. I hope you will join me for the next recap. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel.